guys, I'm back with another action figure review, and this time we're going to take a look at the DC Universe Classics Fists of Clay figure pack. A two-pack released in June of 2009, which clearly includes Clayface and Batman, which is a really cool two-pack, and I was so happy to pick this up, especially at the price I got it at, and I'm sure you've figured it out by now that this is one of the two packs that I got in the eBay auction for 4 two-packs for 60 bucks. And so it was a great pickup considering this pack by itself is usually anywhere from like $30 to $50, and even the Clayface figure loose, which is a reissue of a DC Superheroes figure, goes for $20, $25 loose by himself. So definitely happy to have picked them up the way I did, and happy to have them, period, because this Clayface figure by itself is awesome. So totally psyched to have it, and I'm really surprised I didn't get this review in sooner because of how much I like this Clayface figure. But here I am doing it nonetheless, and you'll get to hear all about how much I like it now. So I'm going to start with the package. Sorry I have to pull this awesome pose away. Hope you like it. And here we have the package. So we have DC Universe, Clayface versus Batman, Fists of Clay figure pack, and you can see in the background you just got generic little shots of DC characters, same on the sides, and then on the back we have a shot of both figures, the Clayface covered goopy Batman and the Clayface figure himself, and then bottom you have bio and statistics for Batman and Clayface. And you can see pick up another two-pack, Batgirl and Azrael. I wish I would really like to pick that one up. I would love that Azrael figure. He's hard to get a hold of for a good price. But there you have it. So, time to take a look at these two figures. So, Clayface is a little difficult to stand because he's got some interesting joints on his feet, which I will show you. So, excuse me for a moment. There we go. And there you go. Those are the two figures side by side. And I do believe that this Batman came with a Batarang, but I'm not sure where that went. So, I'm sorry I don't have that. But it is your typical, you know, DCUC style Batman Batarang. I don't know where that went, but, oh well. But here you have both figures, and so Clayface is a reissue, as I said, of a DC Superheroes figure, and the Batman is simply your regular DC Universe style Batman figure, just covered in poop. No, that's a lot of people call this figure Poopy Batman because he's covered in goopy Clayface goo that I don't think it looks like poop, but apparently some people do, so they call him Poopy Batman. But cool figure nonetheless. So I'm just going to take a look at Batman quickly first to get him kind of out of the way, because we've seen him 100 times, and then get to the good stuff, Clayface. So he'll have to wait over here. So Batman is, again, your typical Batman from the DC Universe Classic style, with Clayface goop on him. And, other than that, he's a nice Batman. He's black and gray with the classic yellow circle symbol, and your typical yellow capsule belt. So there's been many variations of this figure: black and gray, blue and gray capsule belt, pouch belt, black emblem, other black emblem, black and yellow emblem. You know, it's just endless. So, this one actually, I think I've read some people take some acetone to the poopy spots and they can get them off pretty easily, but I'm not certain about that, so I'm probably going to leave this figure alone for the most part. Maybe someday do some kind of custom Batman with it, or I don't know, because I don't really see the need to have the Clayface goop on him for a Clayface display, and I prefer the DC Superheroes buck of Batman. That I happen to have the Batman Legacy Modern Batman with a head swap. So I say styled. I don't have the actual DC Superheroes Batman, but I prefer that buck. And so I don't really see myself using this one, but it's nice to have, and I may do a custom someday. So, just a close look here at the face and the chest. And some of the goopy there. Belt. Goop, goop, goop. You know, his boots are sculpted up at the top here, but not as nicely as the nice leather boots from the modern Batman. And, you know, you've got the spikes on the gauntlets, but they're just the plain kind and all that. So it's not super fancy. His cape, interestingly enough, is loose around the neck, which could also be good for taking it off for a custom. But, anyway. So I'll just go through his articulation. The head will do a 360. It goes up a little, down a little, but not much. Got the full rotation in the arm. There, it doesn't get stuck. In and out. Bicep swivel, single jointed elbow, and wrist rotation. Ab crunch. Waist twist. A little sticky there. T-jointed hips, forward and back, in and out, cut above the knee, single knee, and ankle joint. And that is the Poopy Batman. So now we'll get on to Clayface, who is really cool. And he's basically the only Clayface figure that you can get in the Mattel style. I'm actually not familiar with the DC Direct line if there is a Clayface figure in there. I'm sure there's one or two, but I'm not certain. I know there's also an animated series one, but this guy is awesome. And he could, you know, probably fit in with DC Direct figures also if there isn't an option for those people. But I just love this figure. And I'm just going to get into why. So I'll show you up close what he looks like here. He's got an awesome face sculpt with these teeth that are like broken and like rotting out. He's got the yellow eyes. It's got, you know, goopy goo, globby clay everywhere. And just the lines, it really looks like he's like made of mud. Yeah. All the way down. I mean, I guess there's really not too much to look at other than brown, wrinkly goo. But it's just so well done for such a simple figure. You know, he's even got some hanging off his arm over here. And so I mean that's just looking at him. Now I'm just gonna break into articulation because that's part of the reason why he's so cool. So his head will rotate in this place here. It's kind of a strange articulation. It just goes side to side, really. It doesn't go up and down. So then you have an ab crunch. Big ab crunch. You can hunch over. You can fall back. He's got a waist twist. He's got baldest hips, really. So I'm not really... They're not like T-joint. Well, they are T-jointed, I guess. Just not, they don't look like a T-joint. So they go in and out and forward and back. Not excessively, but they do move. And then you have a knee hinge with a swivel built in on this leg. And this leg, it doesn't swivel as much because it's kind of stuck. But you do have the hinge. And then the feet are like ball discs, and they also have like... They'll rotate and they'll rock a little bit depending on how you move them. So they're pretty good for posing. But they are a little small, so I thought that they should have been bigger to be able to hold them up better. But other than that, they're good. And look at this little toe. Isn't that so funny? Now the best part here is the arms, because the arms are bendable wire and covered in like a foam. And so that's the one thing that worries me. The coolest part of this figure and the scariest part of this figure is that these bendable wire arms, they remind me of when I was really little and I had Gumby figures. and Gumby was always made of wire and foam, and so so you could bend him in any direction you wanted, but he would always like start to rot, and the foam would rip and tear, and like just the paint. It was painted, so the paint would chip off, and so it just worries me a little bit that this is kind of the same concept, but at the same time, this feels a little bit better to me because, for one, I don't think it's. I mean, I guess it's painted, but it's not painted in the same way Gumby was. Gumby had like thick layer of paint on him that would like you could feel it chipping. This is just, it looks like a thin layer of brown. And this one also feels like more rubbery and less like dried out foam. But see, that could also just be because this figure isn't as old as my Gumby figures would get. So I'm not quite sure if this figure is going to really last or not. Sorry about that. Truck went by my open window. But these arms, and then the last issue with these arms is that of course the brown can't match perfectly, because of the difference in materials. The arms are like a foam, so the brown looks slightly different than it does on the body. But from far away and on camera, it doesn't look super bad. So yeah, but you can see that like the arms look really cool. They look like muddy and cracked, and like they've got these goopy strings on them, the hands, and all along the sides of the arms. They look really cool, and then you can go ahead and pose them any way you want, and it just bends. You don't need to worry about hinges and double hinges and single hinges and blah blah blah. And they are also on a ball joint, so they can be twisted around. They don't go in and out at the ball joint, just twisted, but you can obviously bend them to go out if you'd like. And like I had him holding Batman up because he's got kind of fingers to hold them there. Could have him, almost touching his face, or he could probably touch his face if he squished the wire enough. But I just think they're so cool. I'm so surprised that like this is basically the only figure that they made onto. But it's definitely really fun. So excuse me for rambling on and on about bendy wire arms and Gumby, but I really just like that figure a lot and think that he's really cool. So yeah, that is my review of Batman and Clayface, and I just want you to be able to see Clayface, so I'm kind of posing Batman like kneeling on the ground. I don't know, it's not really working. But yes, so I hope you liked this review. I hope you like Clayface as much as I do. And that rhymed. Unintentionally. But it did. Just pretend Batman is like posed really well. You just can't see his bottom right now. It looks ridiculous. But yeah. So I think that basically covers it, and that is the DC Universe Classics Fists of Clay figure pack, or 2-pack, whichever you'd like to call it. And I'm just a big fan, especially of this Clayface figure. So definitely recommend picking him up, whether you get this 2-pack, the DC Superheroes release, loose, whatever you like. And thanks so much for watching, guys. And I'll see you in future reviews. Take care.